I used to think that saving money meant sacrifice, but then I started romanticizing it. But now my budgeting routine feels just as soft and feminine as my skincare routine. I grab my blanket, I pour a latte, and I spend the same 15 minutes that I would spend if I were planning my beauty routines. Let me just preface this by saying it's not about restriction, and instead it's about intention. I don't deprive myself, I just make the yes purchases really worth it. And here's how I've made saving money a form of self-love. My name is Megan May. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about all things self-care. I do include finance now as one of my content pillars. I've also included beauty and fashion. So if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button because
what are you doing if you have not?
Let's get right into it. So let's talk about old versus new money habits. Let me just say that in my past, I was in a different financial position. So I feel like I didn't own a house, I didn't have a mortgage, I didn't have financial responsibilities. And back then, I feel like spending money, it was just like dollar bills were just flying off the ceiling, okay? And honestly, like that's great, but it's also not. And when you start to learn the value of a dollar, which I'm so grateful that my parents have taught me when I was at a young age, you really start to appreciate it more as you get older and you do find yourself in these financial situations. It really makes you think and start to strategize and prioritize what really matters and how you're going to be spending your money. So what I used to spend my money on back then was probably anything and everything I set my little heart to, okay? Like I would spend money on makeup. I would spend it on lashes, nails. I know what you're thinking, Megan, you have those things, but I've made a smart decision to do these things myself. You know, one,
it takes a lot of time to drive somewhere to get your nails done. What if one chips? What if you don't like it? What if the shaping is weird? What if it's someone new?
It's a lot of time, and time is money, and you're also spending a lot of money when you're there. And if you're doing it every so often, this starts to add up. And same thing with your eyelashes. People get their eyelashes extensions done every 2 weeks, and it is so expensive now. It's like $100 just for a fill. I remember when it was $100 for a full set. So of course everything has now gone up, and I don't even know how Megan back then would even survive in these trying financial times with the amount of spending that she was doing back then. Like I'd mentioned, there was no mortgage, there was no financial responsibilities. I was just living my life with a new job, and you know what? Money was new to me, so I was lavishing at every chance that I could get and spoiling myself. Now I spoil myself, but I do it differently. Like I'll go on a self-care walk and I'll listen to my favorite podcast. There's just other ways that I find satisfaction in rather than just like spending money and doing it that way. So for instance, like let's talk Sephora because I love to talk beauty and I love to talk finance. So that's why I like to wrap the two. And I'm sure a lot of you are kind of in the same boat because you love beauty, but you want to protect your peace by protecting your bank account. When younger Megan would go to Sephora, she would just buy anything and everything, get duplicates of things, try this foundation, get that foundation, chaos. And most of the stuff would get used a couple times, thrown out, expired, and that's just not sustainable, for one. Two, that is not very hygienic either. Honestly, it's also very not financially responsible. The concept that I use now is how can I save money but enjoy Sephora? And so what I do is I stock up at their sale. I will make sure to stock up on all of the items that I need. And obviously, like if this is only happening twice a year, I've probably run out of things. I've also probably changed my habits and don't necessarily use some of the products that I would have used prior. So this is also a way that I can maybe try new things at a discounted rate. And I don't feel bad about returning it because I know that Sephora has a really great return policy. So this kind of goes into how I plan for these sales is that I'll build a cart and I'll put all of the things that I need in that cart. And when it comes time for the sale, then I can just hit buy or I can remove things. It's almost like my little system of keeping track of things that I need to replenish or things that I want to try. And if by that time that the sale comes around, if I still want to try those things or if I still want to replenish those items, then I will. But if I find that I don't really need them or I don't really want them, then there's no point in spending money on it when you don't need to. And this is kind of how I start to plan my budgeting and make it feel more of a luxurious process and I'm romanticizing it, meaning that like I will still go on the site and I'll still browse and still do things, but I'm going to be putting it into my cart and waiting, because I think waiting is so important when you're budgeting and when you're trying to be financially responsible, because instead of just impulse buying, this allows you to like actually think about that item and about the value of it to see if that is something that you really do want to purchase. And during the sale too, like I'll sit down, I'll get cozy, I will make it a full thing. Like I will seriously like go through everything I need, even go through the sale section on Sephora, and I'll just make sure that what I'm buying truly suits my lifestyle, what's in my budget, my financial situation. Like I'm not buying like $70 foundation and expecting myself to wear that every single day if that's just not like realistic in my life. I would rather spend the $15 on Sephora foundation, which is the one that I'm actually currently wearing right now, and I received a compliment on it today. And I was like, yes, it is literally the Sephora foundation, $15. That's a win. And this kind of brings up a point too. Don't always sleep on the cheaper items, because sometimes the quality of those items and the formula is very similar to some of those more expensive items. Okay, and now I know that I'm using this example of the Sephora sale, so let's keep rolling with that, because I feel like it could also tie into many other sales. Like this could also be in association with Victoria's Secret's doing their semi-annual sale, or Best Buy has a huge blowout on all electronics. Use these pieces of advice and kind of tailor it to the type of sale that you are wanting to look at. Try to even just create like a list of everything that you need, and really like set yourself up for not going outside of that list if you really want to stay strict to your goals. So making those rules in your mind, or that mindset shift of only buying what's in that limit and what's in that box, is really good, because it, like I mentioned, creates that mindset shift that this is what you're buying, this is what you're spending on, this is the amount of money, and there's no surprises, there's no, oh, but I need this, I'm gonna add this, and then by the time you know, you're doubling your budget, and that's really not saving you money or setting yourself up financially. So make sure that you also save before you spend, because sometimes like this does happen. Sometimes when you end up getting one extra thing or a couple extra things that you forgot that you needed, and you needed to add that to your basket, and that's okay. But just make sure that you're spending within your means and you have enough money to then pay off your credit card, but only buy when it adds value and not clutter. This goes for electronics, beauty, you name it. Make sure that you only buy if it adds value and not clutter. So I hope that this allowed you to kind of see how I romanticize saving money as a beauty lover. I know I use the Sephora sale, but like I mentioned, this can go for beauty, electronic, the Aritzia sale, anything really. So I want you to make sure that you're focusing on your old habits versus your new habits, that you are romanticizing the process, and making sure that your rules and mindset shift are within your means and you're not spending outside of that budget. So if you want more tips and tricks on how to romanticize your life living in that soft life era, please check out this video right here, and make sure that you guys are subscribed to my channel. Anyways, you guys, I will catch you in the next one. Megan May out.